Well, hello, welcome again to our reading of the Odyssey, Book 2 of Homer, and I got up last time to verse 361. Hos vato, Kokusin de phile trophos Eurykleia, kai rolophromene, epia pteroenta pros euda, tipte de toi phileteknon, eni fresi tuto noem epleto. Pe de theles ianai pollen epigaian munos, ion agapetos. Hode olito te lothi patres Diogenes Odysseus alognoto eni demo. So thus he spoke, but the Philotrophos, the dear nurse Eurykleia, kokusin, this is from kokuo, it means to shriek or wail. It's generally used of women shrieking or wailing in Homer. So thus he spoke, and the dear nurse Eurykleia wailed. And Olophromene, crying out. So again, it's another verb with that sense of wailing or calling out, yelling out, perhaps lamenting sometimes. So perhaps lamenting might be better here. And lamenting, she addressed him with winged words. Tipti. Now tipti is for tea potty. Why ever, dear son, and the toy here is indeed, so why ever, dear son, has this noema, this thought. Now this is from Pelami, often just uses in the sense the same as the verb to be. So why has this thought come into, if you will, into your mind? Where do you wish to go? Pollen epigaian, well, something like over much land or over much territory. Munos, alone. You who are being, eon, agapetos, you being such a beloved son. So why, my dear child, has this thought come into your mind? Where do you wish to go over much land? You being alone, and you the beloved one. Hode, but he, that is of course Diogenes Odysseus, godlike or born of Zeus, or godlike Odysseus, perished, te lothi, far from his fatherland, eni in an alognoto demo. It's only here in Homer, but it's easy to see the roots of this. It's alon, a different one, and the gno, known, and hence the word just means foreign then. So in a foreign land. Hoi de. So she's rather distraught the fact that he's planning on doing this, and she says, Hoi de toi autikionta kakafrasontai opiso, hos kedolo thies, tardidautoi panta dasontai, alamen alth episoisi kathemenos, udetis secre ponton ep trugeton kakapaskein ud alalestai. But they, and I think this must be referring to the suitors, so they will devise, from Frasso, kaka, evil things, opiso, afterwards, for you having gone. So when you have gone, they will afterwards devise dreadful things, so that you would perish, from Theo, this is the subjunctive here, so that you might perish dolo by guile, by trickery. and they themselves, dasontai from dateamai, we've seen that word before, so this is the future here, they will divide up all of these things, that is all of your property. Al men, so menne, it's an imperative, but remain here, sitting episoisi, well, among your possessions. We might say ensconced among your possessions. Uretisecre, it is not necessary for you in any way to suffer terrible things on the unwearying sea. Now this is one of those words that has varied different interpretations and meanings. We don't know the exact etymology. Some people take it as unwearying, which is what I generally do, I think, but there are other possible renderings of this. So there is no need for you to suffer terrible things upon the unwearying sea, nor aralesthai, nor to wander. And now, of course, Telemachos replies, Tandau Telemachos pepnumenos antion et uda. Thase, that's a theta there, it didn't come out very well in there. So thase maya epe utoi anuthiu heidigebule al homason me metriphile tardimuthesastai pringot an hen decate kai duodecate te genetai e autein pothesai kai f home thentos acusai hos an me clai usa catacroa calon iapte. And then thoughtful Telemachus then said in reply to her, usual standard line here, take heart, O nurse, since in fact Heidi Boule, this plan is not toy indeed apart from the god, so without the god's blessing or something here. So this plan is not without the god. But swear, homoson, from omnumi, the root of it's just om, and then they've got a linking vowel with the imperative ending, so but swear not to speak of these things to my dear mother, at least prin until the time when it might be hen decate kai duo decate, the 11th or the 12th, then you've got to supply hemera here. So at least not until the 11th or the 12th day occurs. So either that or until, and we get infinitives after the so we get a aorist subjunctive here after the hoti, so whenever, but the prin is taking an infinitive here. So or until she desires me, and she might hear, and she hears, and you've got to understand mu here. She hears me having set off from af hormao. This is a passive genitive participle here, used in an active, more middle sense. So, so swear that you will not speak of these things to my dear mother until it is the 11th or the 12th day. So until the time when, literally, the 11th or 12th day might occur, or until she desires and hears of me having set off. Hos an may, so that weeping she might not. Now we get the kata goes with the iapte. Iapto means to damage or spoil, something like that. so lest weeping she might spoil her beautiful skin. And hos are fa greos de theon megan horkon apom nu alta epe romesen telutesen teton horkon autic epe ta hoi oinon en amphiphorousia fusen en de hoi alphita huen eoraphe sin doloisi. Telemachos des domat ion nesterasin homile. And thus he spoke, and the graus, this would be grouse in later Greek with an alpha, and you wouldn't have a diaeresis. There's two syllables here, hence the diaeresis mark here. But it's just like grouse, an old woman. So the old woman opom nu, the verb of swearing, apom nuo. So she swore the great oath. Well, the great oath, perhaps by the gods, I think. So the old woman swore the great oath to the gods, or by the gods, but when she had sworn it accordingly, and had completed, telutao, the oath, forthwith then, so immediately then, Amphusen, she drew up for him the wine in the amphorae, in the wine jars, and she poured in for him groats. She poured them into the well-stitched bags. These are the words we had in the earlier section I mentioned before. This doros from Dero, it's a leather bag. So when she had sworn the oath and completed it, forthwith then she drew up the wine for him into the wine containers, and she poured in the groats into the well-stitched leather bags. But Telemachos, having gone into the house, homile, this again is imperfect without augment, he resumed company with the suitors. So he kept company, he began to keep company again with the suitors, so he resumed company with the suitors. Now, of course, he still hasn't got a boat, and this is the next part that the gods take care of. En aut al en noe sethia glaucopis Athene, Telemacho eiquiac catapolin, oikatai pante, kai ra hecasto foti paristamene, fater muthon, hesperius depinea, thoen agarestai anoge. He dauti phronioio no emona phaidimon huion, aetie nea thoen, hodi hoi profron hoop edector. And there the grey-eyed goddess Athena, well, she noticed other things. In other words, she's going to take care of other things. She noticed other things. Not quite sure how else you'd translate that there. Or perhaps, well, some people think not might mean planned from not she had in mind. That's probably better, I think. But there, the grey-eyed goddess Athena had other things in mind. That, I think, captures it better. Oikatai, she went. Pante means in all directions. Cataptolin for pollen, You often get this patolin in place of later polin for the sake of meter. It makes this a long syllable here. So, like to Telemachos, she went in all directions about the city, and accordingly, Paristamene, she standing beside each man. Now this is from Phos with an acute accent, not to be confused with Phos with a circumflex. This is Phos meaning a man. Phos with the circumflex, of course, means light. So there are two words here, Phos and Phos. So she stood beside each man and spoke a word. And Anoge, I think that's she bid. She bid them as evening men. It's the Greek way of saying things. So she bid them at the evening, ergesthai from egero, to gather at the swift ship. But she this is from ITO, Alpha Iota, ITOs. Then she asked the glorious son, Noemon, the glorious son of Phronios. She asked him for a swift ship. It's an interesting example of Homer using rather almost comical names or funny names here, because Noemo simply means thought. So he's the valiant son whose name is thoughtful, and he's the son of Phronios, the son of thought. Anyway, so we'll just keep with transliterating them. So she then she asked Noemon, the valiant son of Phronios, for a swift ship, but he, Huperdecto, is an apocopated aorist from Huperdecamai, which has a range of meanings. It can mean to receive into your house, to entertain, whole range of different meanings. It can also mean, which I think it does here, promised or offered or promised to do it. Hoi and he did so profron, thoughtfully or zealously, or kindly, perhaps, willingly, perhaps profron. So, but he willingly promised it hoi to her. Well, of course, her dressed up or in appearance of Telemachos. And that's the next little section of Book 2.